barring any more technical difficulties, we'll just get on with it. This is Matt. It's Ruhland, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. And we're trying to start this media platform on guys who love to talk, regular guys who love to talk sports. So we're trying to get some stories, some bits and pieces on how people have just
started doing things.
Yeah, have just started, just in like the major sports markets, and just to see what their lives were like at those times, and basically to share stories on like sports athletes and stuff like that. Just run-ins and some cool stuff that other people might want to hear and empathize with when they I don't know. When they come up with that stuff. So
I'm still trying to figure out how to join these, but bugging me.
But anyway, so I ran into Matt. He was the head coach for my kids' football team, grade school team, and he told me about his internship for the Minnesota Twins, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, and I was like, "You got to tell me. We got to talk about this." So yeah, I'm a Twins fan. I'm a baseball fan. That's probably my favorite sport. So why don't you tell Jason and the rest of us like how this all got started?
Okay. So yeah, I'm 40 years old. Ferg, I'm guessing you're right around the same age there. So our formidable years in the late 80s and early 90s, the Twins were good.
Yeah, they were.
And they got past that first round of the playoffs a couple of years there, 87 and 91. So I'm a football guy in my heart, but my favorite teams of all time go back to those late 80s, early 2000 Twins teams. Just great memories of that. I had an uncle who was, part of a corporate sponsorship thing that always got us the giveaways and stuff. And we always watched, and obviously at 7 years old, Twins won the World Series. That made a great impression on me. So my work with the Twins, so I got to work on the Twins grounds crew as part of the TARP crew. When I graduated from undergrad in 2004, I got my degree in Phy Ed and health. I set out to be a teacher.
Nice.
Just kind of for the fun of it, through my resume on MajorLeagueBaseball.com. You never know type of thing. 5 years went by. I would get emails and stuff from places all over the country for internships and stuff that wasn't really a serious thing in terms of me getting a job or helping my career. Well, 2010, I decided to get my master's degree. I'm at the University of Minnesota in the kinesiology department there, majoring in sport management. I was really pursuing a teaching career in sport facility management. I had a little background in construction and background in sports, so kind of marrying those together. And one day randomly leading up to the 2010 season, I got an email, Minnesota Twins grounds crew, TARP crew.
Oh man, that's a dream come true.
That's got to be
seriously.
Awesome, man.
Here we go. After 6 years, something I can actually do. And I kind of, at the time I had just got married. I didn't have a kid yet, but we were family planning, and I was kind of going into a next stage of my life. It wasn't super realistic. I was in the middle of a accelerated grad school program. I honestly didn't really consider it that heavily until I talked to one of my professors. I had a younger professor that was about my age at the time, and I kind of jokingly told him that story, and he said, "Hey, I can get you some college credits for that. Have you ever worked in grounds before?" I said, "No, not really." I said, "I've got some other experience, but not in grounds." He said, "Well, I can get you college credit for that." And sure enough, I ended up getting 4 credits for it. I started working in the grounds crew for the Twins, the inaugural season. So,
what did your wife say when you got that? Like, how did you bring it to her?
Cities?
Yeah, we were living in the cities. I lived in the Twin Cities for 13 years. My wife is from Minot area here. She went to NDSU and then came down to the cities to kind of pursue her career. We met through mutual friends, my cousin and her friend. She was pretty supportive. I guess not so funny story was the first year I got married, I was coaching college football at the time. And my wife kind of understood the time commitment with that. but she
Yeah.
didn't totally understand it. I was gone all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Full-time job, and then watching film till midnight, like 5 days a week. We spent one night a week together. So I kind of hung that hat up and went the grad school route, a little more serious about my career. So this was the better of the two evils, I guess, in terms of my wife, but she could tell I was excited about it. And I had all kinds of Twins memorabilia and stuff. So she knew I was kind of a nut. So yeah, that's how I originally got in. It was super cool. I mentioned, I was part of the tarp crew. There was a little over 20 of us that were part of that crew. The guys that really did the work were full-time guys working at Target Field there. So they did the real work where they'd strip the field down and really work it back in between games. We were just 2 hours before the game, up to 2 to 3 hours after the game, kind of putting the field together, batting practice and tearing it down and painting the lines and stuff for the actual game. The in-game raking of the infield and anything else that was needed. And then after the game, kind of doing the bulk cleanup. We were basically helpers, but we were around it all. We got to stand there and watch batting practice. We were around the players. We got to see the difference between when, the Baltimore Orioles come into town. It's just a regular series. When the Yankees came into town, there. Stadium was packed with Yankees and Twins fans. I did it for 3 years, so there was a lot of changes from that first year. We had a really good team. Kadire and Mauer, Jim Tomey was just on fire that year, hit his 600th home run that year.
Yeah, that's
great,
awesome.
Great season.
So where would you guys sit? Where would you guys if you you guys constantly check the forecast and you knew when storms were coming, when whatever, but you were still there at every game.
Yeah.
What you guys had a freaking front row seat.
Yeah, we were literally right off of the Twins dugout, right down the first baseline from the Twins dugout. Right next to the dugout, there's a camera bay where the Fox Sports North cameras and stuff were. And then our little tunnel, we had a room basically right behind the Twins dugout. Our gear and our equipment and our materials and stuff we needed. Our little tunnel was
okay.
A lot of games we would sit right in front of those cameras. We could look right into the Twins dugouts. When Ron Gardenhire would get fired up and come out and get kicked out of the game, we would see him come sprinting out of the dugout before the That was the loudest the stadium would ever get. Was when Gardenhire got out of the game. So yeah, most of the time we were right up there, right by the game, ready to go in the event we needed anything. We raked the infield after the 3rd, 6th, and then 9th inning if it went into extra inning again. So we would do our pregame thing and hang out for the first couple innings in the back. Our actual break room was back behind the bullpen out in right center field. And then middle of the 2nd inning, we would go down and get ready to go out after the 3rd. So
that's awesome, man. That's so unreal to me. That's awesome.
It was a thrill. It was a really cool group of guys. You find all these guys that are like the exact same as you. They're roughly the same age. They knew the Twins when they were winning World Series and stuff. Some super neat guys. There was some guys that were, going to college for or had gone to college for turf management and stuff. And this is what they wanted to do.
Yeah, really.
We had one guy that kind of followed Larry DeVito around. He went to Washington. He was from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, but he went out to Washington and worked for the Nationals. I can't remember the exact story, but he told the story. He says he knew as soon as legislation got passed to build the new stadium that this guy, Larry DeVito, would be coming to be the head's groundskeeper.
Okay.
He's just known throughout Major League Baseball as the guy that opened stadiums for MLB. People.
Wow.
This guy went out to Washington, worked for the Redskins and the Nationals. That's where Larry was. And just kind of got his feet wet and got to know Larry and told him his story. And then when the Twins did open the stadium, sure enough, he was actually my supervisor, the supervisor of the tarp crew. So he was a full-time guy there.
Wow. That's so what goes into prep?
It's artificial grass, right?
What's that?
It's all artificial grass, right?
No, target field's all real grass.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, all real grass, not like the dome. So prep wise, basically the full-time guys would set up the field for batting practice. So they'd put the cage behind home plate and the net be up by the pitcher's mound, and get things ready. In terms of that, we would just kind of show up and watch batting practice, and just be ready to go. As soon as they were done with batting practice, we would push the cage, shut the net, clean all that up, rake the infield, rake all the sunflower seeds and stuff that the guys, do and get it pretty and chalk the lines. There's like half a dozen full-time guys that worked there. One of the guys, Al, came from the Metrodome. He was kind of the main guy at the Metrodome. He was in charge of the mound. Another guy named Jared Alley was in charge of home plate. And these guys would just meticulously work these things over before and after.
So that guy had the job of keeping home plate like pristine.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back like 7-8 years now, but I remember, he would spend like an hour to 2 hours every game, after every game, rebuilding that. He would rake away all the egg lime, or surface a little higher end than the egg lime that we put on our ballpark. He would rake it away down to the clay, dig it out, rebuild it back. He would be spraying with a hand just to get ready to use cleaner spray. He would be spraying it, making sure that moisture, and packing it with a hand packer. It wasn't an automated thing where you bring a vibrating tamper in or anything. He would be doing it by hand every game. And
he's got the shovel end and he's packing it in. Yep. as he's going.
Yep. Wow. Just meticulously making it perfect and consistent. All these guys were super meticulous. They knew stuff. Larry DeVito would carry a thermometer in his pocket and walk around constantly checking the soil. Because that whole field's got radiant heat tubing underneath it, so they monitor that temperature and keep it the same. So.
Wow. So when you showed up the first day, well, that also has like its own draining system. Like after every rain, like it drains into like a water purifying or type thing too, doesn't it? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the details. It would be amazing to watch the field. So when we would put the tarp out, the water would run off of it, or when we pulled the tarp up, we would, the water would shed off of the tarp as we pulled it off the field. It would be amazing. It wouldn't puddle up like it does in your yard. You could literally sit there and watch it just dissipate down into the soil. So, I don't know the exact details of it anymore, but it's like highly engineered layers of soil.
Yeah.
A drainage system underneath that field to go down into it. It is a LEED certified. I think it was a LEED gold building. So all of the, energy saving and
renewed, reused.
Yep. Yeah. Built in there. I will say though that the Twins players all changed out their shower heads as soon as they got over there. They were all the low flow.
Low flow, yeah.
I don't know if it was true, but we heard stories they were sending maintenance guys over to the Metrodome to grab their old shower heads and bring them to the new stadium and swap them out. So
that's funny.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
So when you first showed up, like your first day, like what did you have to report to somebody first and then they kind of brought you through the motions then, or like?
Yeah, so the first day it was still winter. I remember there was still snow on the ground. It wasn't super covered. They clear the snow off of the field to a certain degree. But I remember, there was 20 to 25 guys there that were all just in awe of this stadium. There was still some work going on, not major work, but they were doing last minute stuff on. They gave us a tour of the stadium, a tour of the work areas that we used, showed us some of the equipment, kind of walked through our roles and responsibilities. So it was cool. It was pretty basic. Most of the guys there had experience, even if, Minnesota, there's a ballpark in every little town in the world. Yeah. Everybody held a rake before, right? Everybody's raked home at their hometown ballpark. So all the guys, knew how to hold a rake and knew how to do it. It was just a matter of time before we kind of all gelled and had fun with it, So
That's awesome.
That is awesome, man.
So like what's the best thing you would take away from that experience?
Oh, well, I got, the material side of me, I got a ton of giveaways. We got all the giveaways from all the games. I got a few of them sitting here. I thought you guys would be curious to see some of them.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I can pull them out in a second here. I kind of got them set up where I had my computer earlier, but I think I grew an appreciation for major league players. I talk about the shower heads and you think, oh, these 20-year-old prima donnas that need their perfect shower heads and stuff. Going in, I loved Justin Morneau. I was a huge Morneau fan. I was a huge Kadire fan. They were kind of blue collar, tough lumberjack guys that, kind of represent the upper Midwest. And then you had Joe Mauer, and Joe Mauer, phenomenal talent, no doubt about it. Mauer was like, I kind of knew him growing up from Cretin-Derham Hall High School. He was the, everybody talked about him. He was all state in football, all state in basketball, all state in baseball, and committed to Florida State to be their quarterback and all that. So I didn't have a great appreciation for Joe Mauer until I started working there. The guy was insanely meticulous. To the minute, would be out on the field doing his stretches with the trainer, would be in the bullpen warming up the starting pitcher. Mauer would always kind of nod and say hi to us too. A lot of them wouldn't. They were in pregame mode. They were pretty serious, getting ready for their jobs. A lot of them wouldn't say hi. None of them were jerks really, but Mauer would always say hi. After he was done with his pregame stuff, he would always say hi. But super meticulous, same thing every game. And then just watching him play from up close for so long, you get a better appreciation of what a special athlete he was and what he did for the Twins. So, yeah. There's a lot that goes into it, guys. I mean, I'm talking about the grounds crew. We got, all in all, there was probably 30 guys on that department. But we stepped into event management with the Twins and stuff, and security. And, there's hundreds and hundreds of employees for the Twins working there. And it's amazingly organized, put together event every single game. So,
would you do it all over again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I did it all over again, I probably would have changed my major in undergrad and went after that. Through my 20s, I could have been a grunt guy, and by the time I was 30, I might have had a chance at something like that full time in life. So, it was totally fun.
Was there a lot of jokers in that clubhouse?
Well, Tomei was sweet. So Jim Tomei was towards the end of his career. He was still on the top of his game, though. He was just DH, and so he wasn't as serious as the rest of the guys. His batting practice, he would come out and just hit 6 lasers over the right field wall and then call it a day. Everybody in the league knew Tomei, so it doesn't matter who we were playing. Tomei would come out and go over to the other team's dugout and shoot the hay with those guys, and they'd be laughing, and everybody loved him. Super great guy. I'm going to grab a couple of giveaways. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
Should we see if we got any of these? Or I do?
Yeah. Well, you've got starting lineups like you wouldn't believe.
No, my sister got me tons of fun stuff, dude. Because she went to the games all the time.
So I'll show you guys this one first, being that we're talking about Tomei.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I think I told you about this, but this autograph, Jim Tomei, you can't read it super well there, but on the bottom it says, we did this together as a team. Thanks for everything. And then he signed it. He put to Matthew, Jim Tomei. This was his 600th home run. So everybody that worked for the Twins, I never talked to Jim Tomei once. Now, he might have recognized me during the season, but I never talked to him once. He didn't know me from Adam. He did that for every single employee of the Twins.
That's awesome.
This is a classy guy. You could tell, like I said, when other teams would come into town, guys would be seeking him out to talk to him. He was a popular guy.
They always said that he had such a big heart, such a soft guy, but just mashed. That swing is something I'll never forget.
Yeah, in the Twins ballpark was, and I mean, I remember it from when he was playing with the Indians and the White Sox, and we hated it, right?
Yeah, he was a killer.
Oh,
It sucked.
White Sox. Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
just knew he was going to hit it out of the ballpark every time we played him.
Yep.
Well, the Twins, you know, that right field bleachers, it kind of cantilevers out over right field, right down the line there. Now there's a couple hundred seats in that section. And that was like the hot spot of that season because Tomei was hitting shots. I mean, line drives into that seating, and the crowd would go wild. I would say there was one night game against the White Sox. I think we were tied in the 9th inning, and he hit a walk-off, and it was I mean, that thing
I
didn't
remember
have
that.
at all. It was a line drive, and that stadium just erupted. It was phenomenal. So
When you hear the crack of the bat, you almost automatically know you got that feeling. After that crack, it's a different tone, and you just I've been to a couple of games, and there's nothing like it. You know that it's going to be
It
real
sounds
close.
differently.
Yeah.
Yep. It sounds different. It's almost, and you watch it, and it's almost like it pauses when he connects, and that front leg is perfect, and he's back on his back leg. Everything just lines up. You could just see it, and then the stadium erupts. It's just awesome.
Did he get the 600 ball? Or
That's
the
a
Hall
good
of Fame?
I don't know for sure. I want to say he did. You know, somewhere in my files from when I was in grad school, I had to keep a log of this stuff for grad school. Just how many hours I worked and stuff. The credits I earned was based off of that. And it actually doubled. I would write this journal basically of what we did, what I learned and stuff, and I would send it to my grandma. She loved it. She was a huge Twins fan. So I bet I wrote it down in that log, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was there ever a player from an opposing team you were just pumped to see? Like your favorite one? Like you were like, God, I can't wait to see this guy?
You know, the Yankees bring an aura with them. The Yankees were super meticulous too. They would line up like a high school team right in front of their dugout and do calisthenics and stuff. Super organized. You know, Jeter and those guys were in that. You got a little of that kind of appreciation. These guys are on top of the world and making the most money, but they're still businessmen. They're still real serious about it. And then just the media presence when the Yankees were in town was so crazy that it was a different atmosphere for sure. It was a playoff atmosphere. So the Yankees was fun to work unless we were playing them and getting crushed in the first round of the playoffs. Other than that, none of the players on other teams stood out to me. You know, every team had all-stars on it. It was fun to see every team, especially.
You got to see Ortiz come back then?
Yep, Big Papi came back, and Boston had that presence too. You know, they would draw the national crowd more.
Yeah.
Not quite the same as the Yankees, but the Red Sox would definitely have that. But Big Papi was having fun all the time too.
Yeah, he looked like it, dude.
Yeah. Career DH.
I believe they released him because of a stupid wrist, and now he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, come on. Oh.
Yeah. Now here we sit here with Sano thinking the same thing, right? Like, is he coming out or is he not? And
yeah. Well, I tell you what, we've bolstered the pitching staff now, and I'm really impressed on what they've done over this last offseason. I think this will be good, and I can't wait with the weather being nicer. And I can't wait. I just can't. I'd put some money on him. To at least beat the Yankees the first round. It's about time, right? Yeah.
they're due, that's for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I like what they did too. You know, picking up Simmons in the infield. You know, you kind of thought at first. I thought, man, what are they doing? What are they going to do with Polanco? What are they going to do with Reyes? I like the idea. I'm hoping that Reyes is going to play in the outfield a little more, be a little more universal. But having that strong of a middle infield, and then big power hitters on the corners with Donaldson and Sano, that's an exciting infield for sure.
Yeah.
And they just took on Schumacher.
Yeah.
And that Robles guy, was he from the Angels? Maybe. Yeah, They look so good. Trevor May, love the guy. He was great. Followed him on Twitter. He was great. But since he left, I'm glad we have the money. We couldn't pay him that. We just couldn't. And I think fresh arms is gonna be real good this year. It's gonna be way different, and it's exciting. Definitely.
It is.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. I think they definitely got better. I think ESPN gave us like a C+ offseason grade, which they were kind of hard on everybody. There wasn't a whole lot of Bs out there, but I kind of disagreed with that. We won our division last year, and it was a tough division.
Yeah.
And I feel like we got better. So I like our chances. I mean, we're going to get challenged the entire season.
Yeah.
Chicago especially is going to give us a ride. And I think we got a good chance this year to make something happen. So
Are the Twins allowing fans this year? Yeah.
As far as I know, I think MLB did actually say they'll go to at least 10%, I believe.
Because I know Minnesota right now, you can't have fans in high school sports.
Well, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I know there's something in the works, and they said definitely on MLB, they did say that they will be having fans this year.
So Ferg, you were just down in Florida. I got another buddy that's in Fort Myers. He's going to games, so they're letting at least some fans in there. I don't know why they.
Yeah, they are in Fort Myers, but they're open there.
Yeah, it's wide open, man. It's wide open. It's nothing like it is in Minnesota right now. So that'll be interesting coming up when they make the move after spring training to see.
I think with that big a stadium, they'd be able to accommodate social distancing and take the measures they need to and get some fans in there. I don't know.
At least allow like 20% or something. I would hope.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Should be fun.
It's going to be a fun season. I think it's going to be good for MLB. These guys should be eager to come back and play, and fans should be eager to see it. Come back the way it should come back.
Yeah. Get out and watch a game.
Yeah.
Well, sweet, man.
Yeah.
So that's my story. I wasn't, and I kind of always tell the story, and I've had people ask me in job interviews since then. I'm in the maintenance industry now. They ask me, why the heck would you leave that job? And I wasn't as serious as it sounds. I was part of the grounds crew, the tarp crew. Super tough industry to get into. The guys, I worked with a couple guys that were in their 30s and they were still working, $15 to $20 an hour jobs, which, isn't terrible, but it's not something that you can go buy a house and really support a family. They're committed. It takes a long time to really get in, and you got to be mobile. There's a couple guys I worked with that are around the country. There was one guy that was from Colorado that came to Minnesota, kind of the next step in his career, and he's back down. I think he's in Arizona now. He's a head groundskeeper at a minor league park. So a lot of cool stories with it. It's definitely a sport or a career you have to have a passion for. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for taking your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have a great weekend. And I'll send this to you here later.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens. And Matt, like I said, I appreciate your time. And we're a couple of half-wits when it comes to computers. So
really bad.
2 halves ought to do her, right?
Yeah, we got one computer going. Good job.
Yeah.
All you need.
Ask the kids.
Yeah. All right. Good talking to you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah. Take care, man.
See you later. Take it easy, Ferg.
Bye. Bye-bye.